so much said, I'm in too deep. Waters I tread can't catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. Found now have a key.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Okay, and yeah. See, dog, you gotta stop watching the actual feed itself. And a quick shout out to my friend Ollie. You know, Ollie, if you paid attention to Twitter, you'd have known that it's going an hour early. Feed itself. And a quick shout out to my friend Ollie. You know, Ollie, if you paid attention to Twitter. Yeah, no, just mute it or something. Because it's so far behind what we're actually talking about. So takes like 15 seconds to catch up. Anyway. All right. So first and foremost, if you guys dig the intro music and stuff like that, there are links to it below, and also for the after party music as well. All of my tunes are there on the SoundCloud there. So if you like what you hear, you can go hear more. All right, let's get into it. Hopefully, dog, you've got it muted. So if you like what you hear, you can go hear more. All right, let's get into it. Hopefully, dog, you've got it muted. So if you like what you hear, you can go hear more. All right, let's get into it. What's going on here? Dog, you've got it muted.
I'm trying to. It isn't me. I promise it isn't me. I've got all my YouTubes are closed.
There's one. You got one left over.
Something's going on. It sounded like two because it was repeated and then it repeated again.
You got one left over.
Yeah. Something's going on. It sounded like two because it was
where
repeated and then it repeated again. I don't know. Maybe
you got one left over.
See, no, it's like a double repeat. It's weird.
where
I don't know.
Maybe you got one left over.
just to make sure it isn't me. I'm gonna leave and come back again, Neil.
Okay.
Sure. All right. We can do that. Yeah. Oh, weird. Look at this weird placement now.
Oh, my friends have a low rider.
That was random.
Well, I got like lean down in here, you know.
Oh, I see.
Feeling all squished. There we are.
Yeah, there we are. We'll do that for a few minutes there. So how's it going, Mikey?
I would like to apologize. This is my fault, obviously. David Worley already pointed it out. Good on him. He caught me. But aside from
Mikey, for what though?
For his echo. I did the echo. Yeah, it's my fault. I'm sorry. It happened to him.
Don't know how the hell that would have happened, but all right. Let's try it again.
How's that?
I don't hear anything now.
No, it was me then. What twat? British fucker. Brits they know nothing.
That's okay. The issue has been solved. I always say it's also good to wear headphones too, because that also keeps the.
I've got headphones on, but I didn't have anything open. I promise.
Okay, well, it's bizarre.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're here.
We're here. We're good to go. Welcome to the show, dog.
Thank you, Neil. Always a big fan, as you know.
Well, yes, you've been watching my shows for, what'd you say, about 3 years now, I guess.
Yeah, a long time, yeah.
Give or
since
take.
I bothered, since my stroke, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Before then, I was not bed bound, and I can't abide TV, especially in Britain. There's shows I'll watch with the wife, etc. That she enjoys, and I must admit I enjoy a couple of them. But television has never been a big part of my life. I don't deal with drama. Let's put it another way. A lot of TV is drama.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Your soap operas are always drama. There's never. I do like comedy shows. I like your Ricky Gervais's. I like
Gervais
your
is great.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine and what you've got over there. I do like that sort of stuff. Scrubs. I love Scrubs. That was a great show.
I'm no
Scrubs,
Superman.
Yeah, it was silly, but it was fun. And them sort of shows are a great sort of washout of life. You know, you can forget about what's going on. That sort of thing will cheer you up. But I've never been a big fan of TV. I always like to read.
Yeah, reading's good.
Especially mainly on the internet lately. You know, it was not. I used to do it in a library as a child. You know, I'm going back 35, 40 years now. When I used to read on the Catholic Church and what was written about the Catholic Church back then. It was never positive. Anything positive, I wouldn't even look at. I would just only through my previous experience of and this is what the point you were all about is your deconversion stories of why I became who I am now.
Yes.
I believe in atheism. I wouldn't say I'm an atheist.
Okay. Well, how would you classify yourself then?
Like an atheist, I still have I still have it. You know, I can't prove a God doesn't exist, just as much as a theist can prove a God does exist.
Well, I always say you don't have to.
And doubts are always there. Does that make me an atheist, or does that make me a doubter?
Well, I would say if you don't believe in any deities, then you are technically an atheist. But if you carry a belief in some form of deity, then you would not be an atheist. Agnostics are just, in my opinion, agnostics are just atheists that.
I don't get agnosticism at all. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you know, one deals in knowledge, one deals in faith. They both they both come to the same conclusion that you need to prove God.
Well, no, you don't.
You
don't have to prove if he exists, or you don't have to prove that he doesn't exist. You know why? Because he's already doing a great fucking job of disproving his own existence, in my opinion.
Well, theists, they always jump at this philosophical point that and obviously the key to philosophy is that there's no right or wrong answer.
That's right.
To the questions, and this is why they always focus on philosophy. It's such a binary answer. Does he exist? Yes or no. Now the Vatican allegedly have proof that, and I've always said this, I've been on, and Esther Afro-Humanist is in the audience. I've been on his shows many times. I've said this on his show, that the Roman Catholics back in the day were staunch record keepers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, they can tell you who was crucified back to when the first crucifixion went, and or how they killed anyone. But there's no evidence of Jesus existing. Yet that's their main goal is Jesus as God and the Holy Trinity. That's the way Catholics work. And apparently, allegedly, there is stuff in their vaults underneath the Vatican that prove that Jesus never existed.
Really?
Well, this is allegedly. This is through my research over the years.
Okay.
Whether I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know, and these people don't know who have researched it. But apparently it does. But I will come to evidence of Pope Francis, the current Pope, being a paedophile, convicted of paedophilia or child abuse.
Hold it. He has been?
Yes, in 2014.
Wow.
In the International Common Court of Justice, and that's I believe is in Brussels. He was convicted of, along with what was it? He was the general. He was the Jesuit superior. What was his name? Adolfo Pachon.
Interesting.
Along with the British Archbishop of Canterbury, and that was Justin Welby at the time. They were found guilty of rape, torture, murder, and the trafficking of children, which the Vatican have been involved with since World War II, the end of World War II. They've been involved, and it was only in 2018. I watched this on a BBC show. In 2018, there was a BBC posted a documentary of trafficking from Spain, from the Catholic Church, under their sanction as well, of trafficking over 300,000 babies. Apparently made them over $20 billion. So, no one looks into this. The Catholic Church, right? You're from New Westminster, right? BC.
Yes,
yeah, right?
Correct. Yep.
What happened to the indigenous children that were buried under them schools, them Catholic schools? Or they call them the Anglican schools, but they were Catholic. They were Catholic run.
They were Catholic run, yes. There's
what happened?
More than just one.
Oh, absolutely. It's reputedly 50,000 children went missing. That's gone missing.
Yep.
And wasn't it Pastor Kevin Arnott or Annett brought it to the attention of the secular authorities, who had recently had or since then has had 3 attempts on his life in UK alone. I think it was Kevin Annett or Arnott. I'm just going by memory here. I'm as I said, I just thought I was going to talk about my experience, but I can dig up what I remember of learning from anyone called Benedict was evil. We're not good.
Even Cumberbatch?
Yep, he's the worst one.
He's the worst one?
He's not. Mikey, no.
He's Doctor Strange, man.
Have you heard him say penguins?
Alexander, I think it was Alexander the Sixth who started the jousting of the horse, where they would make 50 women dance in front of the papal table and throw chestnuts on the floor and make them act like swine, and then suggest one man or the men that were there who could fuck the most women, and they bribed them with clothing and jewelry. That was the jousting of the horse. This is, and I've said this on many streams, these sexually oppressed idiots, anyone who, if you I have to go back to Middle Ages, like the 13th century, from when the Count of the Lectern who forbade sexual conduct and went on a monogamous sort of reality. But we know before that it was what made them do that in the first place. Have to go on to make that legislation in a religious court. And why has nothing changed? The way it's staggering how they treat children and women, and still do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you can say this. Fair enough. They say they're progressive. Look at what's the difference between a habit and a hijab? A nun's habit, a nun's clothes. What's the difference between a hijab?
What is it made out of?
Well, there's nothing at all.
There's no big difference
at all.
The whole thing is the whole modesty thing, right? And
it's all hiding the hair and things like that.
Apparently, the men can't keep their dicks in their pants.
You've got the only difference is that some of these Islamic states, the deeply Islamic states, just change the full face to a little window that the eyes that they can look at. That's the only difference. They still
That's a
They
burqa.
still
burqa.
brutalize women. They brutalize human beings as people. And don't get me started on the big. Let's start from the beginning, Neil.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like
experience, because I was a believer. I believed in all of that. I really did. God was all this. God was all that. My father was a Eucharist minister in my local church called it's called a Holy Name. It was in Liverpool. It still is in Liverpool.
One of them mobile churches.
Yes. No, it's not mobile at all. It's one of the biggest, secular, one of the biggest Catholic churches. Well, it probably is the biggest secular, I keep saying secular Catholic church in Liverpool.
Maybe you're trying to get them to be secular.
It obviously went from, it was a junior school. I don't know or secondary school. I don't know what you call them in
middle school.
Where I'm from.
We had infants, junior and senior. I know the Americans do high school and whatever the two before, kindergarten, whatever that meant. It was that middle one anyway.
Middle school.
So I go there. I'm born into a Catholic, Orthodox Catholic family. You know, we did all the prayers. We did the meal prayer. We did everything, and I loved it. I thought I'm going to be okay. But then, so for some reason, my junior instinct kicked in, and I thought that just sounds a bit wrong.
Which part?
It first started with when Cain murdered Abel. I went back to the morality of the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
And which I know are instinctual anyway in our species. They are instinctual. And they say, no, it's not instinct. I said, of course it is. Before the Ten Commandments, there was obviously no morals. So why did Cain try to hide Abel's body from God? If he knew if he wasn't wrong.
Why would he hide a body from an all-seeing entity, anyways?
Well, this is it. But you got to bear in mind as well that Adam and Eve hid behind a tree. So maybe trees are God's kryptonite, God's lead. Have sex in trees and you'll be all right. God can't see you. I don't know, but
no, I know.
That was the start of it, and I went to the headmaster, and he explained the doctrine to me, and just when and that was it. And I went back and I thought, fair enough. I don't question that. It's doctrine. We knew all about doctrine, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But then we went on to when they were banished out the Garden of Eden, of course, then I said to the nun, I won't mention any names, so I've still got family that are going to this school. Or I've got great nieces and whatnot and great nephews. I mentioned, well, how did Adam meet these hundreds of people outside the Garden of Eden if it was only him, his wife, and two sons?
That's another good question.
Well, this is just simple logic, Neil.
Yeah.
I just went to, simple logic that was just puzzling me, and I can't question it. And the nun sent me again to the headmaster. Let's just say he was Father. He was Irish, so let's just say O'Malley was his name. I always use O'Malley for the Irish. It's not racist or anything. And I got the cane for that, and that was the cane. It was the cane back then. It was across it.
You didn't get the
corporal
Abel,
punishment.
you got the Cain instead.
I'm not saying that it was just in Catholic schools, because corporal punishment in the 70s was rife throughout all schools. I'm not going to say the whole world, but it was through Britain anyway. The cane was a thing. But when they go to a meter rule on the back of the knuckles given by a nun, that basically just put your hand out commission for about a fortnight. I should say 2 weeks, not a fortnight. That's when it gets a bit bad. And bear in mind that I'm going through the days when these insidious bastards were fucking killing kids. We're literally killing them and burying them. Mm-hmm. I think I got away lightly with just my Catholic scars. I got away lightly.
Yeah.
But I can go back through, I can go back, and I was asking questions like, going into the New Testament, was asking about, Mary's conception. Now, I knew nothing about sex, but I knew it was a mummy and daddy thing. I'm not that stupid. Mummy and daddy, when they love each other, they fuck. Not the stalk sort of thing, but you know what? As a 8-9-year-old, mummy and daddy love each other. That's where babies come from.
Just because they love each other.
Yeah,
exactly. I love you. I love you too.
That's what they tell you, don't they? Where the babies come from? Well, when mummy and daddy love each other, daddy bends mummy across the bed and puts in a doggy position and fucks up you up. You know what I mean? But that's what they tell the kids. But don't forget, indoctrination goes through religions. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny. That's how it plays on children. Because what child doesn't like Santa Claus? What child doesn't like the Easter Bunny? Chocolate and fucking toys. And we know for a fact that these happenings of Jesus were fucking pigeonholed in there for this reason on a traditional pagan holiday. We know this as fact. Even biblical scholars say this, but they've made it dogma. They have brainwashed people, and this is how that's the start of getting kids involved in this sort of stuff. That's what they do. But you've got to go on about useless, and I was taught about it. When Paul was preaching Trows and the teenager useless decided to sit on the sill of an open window, and he fell asleep and fell out the window. I mean, this is in the Gospels. And he broke his neck. And before long, Paul come and raised him back to life again. Well, I mean, he broke his neck. Now, when I was a kid, anyone who broke their neck died instantly. Well, I know people now. I've watched these medical shows. People who break their necks don't instantly die. But usually they do. You got when Alicia and a band of friends, they were chopping down trees to build a house. And when one of the axes broke and sank in the Jordan River, one of the men shouted, "Oh, thou shalt whatever." I haven't got my Bible with me. I really look at that now. But oh no, it wasn't even my axe. Then Alicia whipped out a magic wand, and the axe floated to the top. And we're talking about a culture that were murdering women for being witches, literally 250 years ago in America. And I'd say now that was the famous Salem witch trials. They're still doing it now around the world. They still kill women who they think are witches. This is the most evil institution organized. The mafia's got fuck all on the Vatican. I am serious. They have got nothing. The Pope is an oligarch. And I know I said this last night on African Humanist channel.
Mm-hmm.
I know the oligarch is mainly aimed at these Russian billionaires with their hands in politics.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't that just say what the Pope is? A billionaire with his hand in politics?
Yep. I would count him as an
so
oligarch.
much crap under. I mean, this evil Francis Bergoglio. He made Mother Teresa a saint, for fuck's sake. One of the most evilest, horriblest women.
Yeah. She was far from being a saint.
And
just want to say something real quick. We were talking about, storks don't actually bring babies. I beg to differ.
See, that's why I like you, Neil. You always bring me up. Anyway, I was. Let's get my. This is the bit where I've been drinking for to get my, because trust me, that church has scarred me forever. And this, and going back in time and reliving this in my mind, to not disrespect your show, but just to we're talking about the Catholic Church of the 70s. This is when have you ever seen that film, The Magdalena Sisters?
Yes, long time ago.
And the people who experienced that actually complained that film was too nice. It's not what they were like. They weren't. The nuns were seditious, horrible fuckers, and they were. They were in my school. They were nasty bits of
they're like that here too.
In anatomy class, bear in mind that we have religious education. But let's just say, when I look back now, that every lesson was religious education. Mm-hmm. It really was. They didn't teach us fuck all about anything secular. They taught us how to add up, maybe a little bit about English, history out the window. The history was all the history of the Bible and God and things like that. It was, if you didn't agree with it, I got a kick out of it in the end. And that's wrong at the age of 9 to get a kick out of being beaten. Because I was sent to the headmaster so much. I was beaten. I was stripped naked in front of my whole class. Fortunately, it was
what? Why?
For anatomy class, to show where my little penis was. I was 8 years old. I was made to do that.
Oh no, it's a Catholic church. It's not unbelievable.
I was made to do that. This is how they behaved back in the 70s. They were nasty. Well, they still are. I can't change history. When do you ever hear monks going around preaching? They don't leave their monasteries. And these monasteries still exist. They don't leave their monasteries. They just... A lot of them are ashamed of the Catholic Church. And the higher up of the Catholic Church. They are seriously ashamed of it. And the paedophile ring. Well, we'll get to that. I want to go through my life with the Catholics.
Like tell us how you found your way out of all that shit.
I was forced out.
Oh.
I used to get... I was kicked into a fetal position by the headmaster once. And it was not long after that where I was... I got a kick out of asking questions about dogma. It got to the point where I would just ask stupid questions. I mean, why did the donkey talk and things like that? You know, I wouldn't even look at the metaphorical side of stuff. I would just ask silly questions. How could the donkey talk?
I don't know if that's meant to be metaphorical. It literally says the donkey asked.
Oh, absolutely, and
you know, and the snake too, the serpent or whatever. Also,
yeah, and the thing is, Neil, these things go in all Christianity. You know, the Catholic Bible is no different than the Christian Bible, apart from they take a few books
stuff in there.
Well, they had a few books, really.
Yeah.
Which the name is, I should know this, being in Catholic school. It's the
yes, you should.
Anyway, it's these few extra books, which are basically more nonsense, just piled on the nonsense. I mean, the Catholic side of things are even stupider than the story of Noah and things like that. On top of the story of Noah, because they all believe in that. And the Catholics try and be progressive. Anyway, I was kicked into a fetal position. Apocrypha. That's the books. The books. The Apocrypha. That's the Trinity. I knew it'd come to me. The Incarnation. The ecumenical councils all believe in this book, and that's how they go by. That's their main goal is these books, and I know different, and people know different. Apart from the people that are brainwashed by the Catholic Church, it's all about money. As I say, the Pope is an oligarch. He's basically your Kenneth Copeland that doesn't have to work for it. That's all the Pope is.
No, he just goes out on his balcony every once in a while and waves at people.
That's all he has to do. Benedict, he was, you know, of all the popes in history, Benedict the 16th, whatever he was, Ratzenberger was resigned for health reasons. No, he didn't. He couldn't get over. He was dogged constantly about his involvement in the Hitler Youth, and the church's problems in the Hitler Youth was all about their involvement with the anti-Semitism and the racism and the things that go on in the Catholic Church. And they've always been anti-Semitic, and Muslims. All the Catholic Church have killed more people than any war and any known murder, including all your serial killers and accidental murders. The Catholic Church have killed more people or murdered more people than all of them put together forever.
Mm-hmm.
They are a nasty, nasty institution. And obviously, I can't. All I can say, you know, they found this reputedly in British Columbia. There's 50,000 babies buried under, or 50,000 children buried in their graves. That a lot of them. There's only that one site. There's only that one site they've allowed access to. Yeah.
Oh no, there's other ones too.
And they found more.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them all across Canada.
Well, Pope Francis himself is apparently from when he was in the 70s, when he was
and in the US too now, by the way.
Well, he was a priest in Argentina, wasn't he? He was a bishop in Argentina. He's responsible for about 30,000 child deaths. It was only in 2018 there was a guy. He wasn't even convicted because the statute of guilty had passed. But from the First World War, well, I said this earlier. A staggering 300,000 children were stolen from their parents, and the parents were told that they had you know, that they had died and were buried in mass graves, but they were sold as, you know, as people who couldn't have kids, and they still do that now, and they're still doing it. But they brush things under the carpet. That's the great thing about the Catholic Church. They're good at brushing things under the carpet completely.
Yeah.
But Pope Francis, he was found guilty in 2014, as I say, I will get into that. Anyway, but let's get back to me and getting out. Anyway, it come to a point where I enjoyed getting beaten up. I didn't enjoy it, but they used to make sure my parents, because I said my father was a Eucharist minister, my mother was nothing in the Catholic Church because she was a fucking female.
Yeah.
She had no rights whatsoever. And my father was a Eucharist minister in the Catholic Church. He was basically a dog's body he used to encourage the cannibalism of Jesus. Basically, he was the one that handed out the Jesus skin flakes and the fucking blood of Christ. I've always asked that as a joke. I've always asked that in a joke. How many of them Jesus skin flake wafers does it take before you've eaten a full Jesus?
Don't know. I think I've had like one in my whole life.
Have to weigh that one out, wouldn't he? You have to weigh a skin flake and the average human. We're talking about an average human here. With the average size of a human,
but
5 foot, and he was 6'4" with fucking blue eyes. And
there's no fucking way he was 6'4". Not at that time. No way.
He is in all the depictions of him. But anyway, that's just
more bullshit.
The other thing about the Catholic Church is let's just compare it to the rest of Christians, because as I know, a lot of that's the discussion. We're going to talk about me. So yeah, I used to enjoy not enjoy it, but I got a kick out of asking these silly, mundane questions against dogma. I had no friends back then. All my friends were in that school. I went through bullying through them. I went through a lot of shit as a child, but I used to go home and get beaten by my parents as well. They were Orthodox Catholics. They got word that I was questioning this dogma.
Spare the rod, spoil the child, right? I
would get another beaten by them and left with no food. It got to a point where I had a paper round where I earned, it was a lot of money back in the 70s. I earned 50 pence a week on my paper, and that would buy a trash can load of sweets. 50 pence. That would do you for a year. But 45 pence of that was taken away for rent. Room and board. I was over 10 then. I was just over 10. I was treated as a lodger by my home family.
Wow.
That's what religion does to people. There was a guy last night who was saying, I'm newly atheist.
Mm-hmm.
What am I looking forward to? And I'm saying, are you atheist?
You don't have to pay rent anymore.
There's a lot of shit that goes with coming out, especially in Catholicism, and your parents are convinced of this as well, because they basically disown me. But at the end of the day, I disown them. I'm 53 now, Neil. Mikey, if you ask me, are my parents still alive? Wouldn't fucking know. Don't care. I do care, actually. It's just something, sadly, I denied myself, and it's been denied of me. But they haven't bothered trying to get in touch with me, their only son.
Did they cut you out, or do they not talk to you anymore?
This was I got expelled at the age of 10, and I'm fortunate I'm not dead, because in that day and age, kids were being killed left, right, and centre, and humanely sacrificed by the Catholic Church. And there's proof of that, and we can go into that later in this court case, where the Pope Francis himself was found guilty. He never turned up. That's why he never leaves in his little ice cream van, his bulletproof ice cream van anymore. He never leaves the Vatican, because he would be arrested and put on. You don't hear this, do you? The Catholics are very good at brushing things under the carpet. Anyone can Google this. Anyone can Google this. Just Google up Catholics, Vatican child trafficking, and it'll give you the whole court case.
Oh, we're aware.
There was a BBC documentary on it, on Pope Francis himself. The guy who John Paul is saying, sorry for Galileo and all their atrocities and the witch trials and this and that. They obviously have a big hatred to the Catholic Church. I really do. I wish I'm just a lone guy. I know I'm not alone, but I can't find anyone who would want to tackle them. They're so big. They're unbeatable in this world. They got their fingers in so many politics and politicians' pies that you would be laughed out of court if you brought any. But one thing, when a individual of them is brought to court, like these priests, these paedophile priests that have been pulled aside, and all they do is they just take them out of the jurisdiction of.
Well, they move them around.
Exactly. They take them out of the jurisdiction of where they've convicted, and they just keep them online. That's just when the Pope Francis, and this is a fact, when the Pope Francis, there was 20 Argentinian priests who came out to admit they're involved in this Vatican paedophile ring. And they met with the Pope and said, we're going to go public. It's all written down. It's all in everything. And all this was taken out of the Vatican vaults, believe it or not. This was all held up in this court case. Guess what happened to them? They all died in a plane crash after leaving the Pope.
Okay.
This is all online. You can read this, Neil. I'm serious about it. You can read all of this. This is how bad that institution is. It is not a. Yeah, my hatred is that Catholic Church. I'll bring all this up, but I'll do anything about the Catholic Church, the badness of the Catholic. But I've read all about the history of it and what these popes got up to back in the day, like the whore jousting, the poisoners. Pope was it Benedict the IX? Was only 12 when he became Pope, and he sold the papacy twice, and still came back for the third time. But he sold it twice.
He sold it.
It's all about money. You can buy your sins away. The Catholic Church don't believe in the lake of fire. They don't believe in any of that. But they do believe in.
We have that in common.
Yeah, but they do believe in purgatory, that your soul will go and pay for its sins, but you will eventually end up in heaven.
Right. That's where we disagree.
But your life in purgatory can be extremely reduced by how much money you give the church. Your life will be reduced. See, I was never confirmed. When I was expelled from my school.
By the way, I'm happy to say I never gave a dime to any church ever, or synagogue for that matter.
Well, I didn't. I'm guessing I did because I know my parents did, and they took all my paper out, almost all my paper, apart from 5 pence.
Oh fuck!
Which was still a lot. It was still a lot back in the 70s, but not when you have to fucking work 2 hours a day for that fucker. 5 pence a week was nothing. 5 pence a day may have been like worth it. That was minimum wage to a child back in on a paper round back in the 70s. But I'm guessing I gave to the church, so they took all my money. And I used to go to Sunday school and all that crap. And I believe it or not, my Sunday school was called Sunshine Corner. They even had a song.
Joy!
I'm not going to sing it, so don't even think about that. But we had a song we had to sing. It was sort of like a prayer. Well, it was all believe, it was all Jesus and and he's all the time for all those people. In school, we, before and after every lesson, we had to say a prayer. But it's either Our Fathers or Hail Mary prayers, or during the week it was basically it was Julia, which was DULIA, which was worshipping not work, but just thanking and praying to the saints, sort of thing. But Fridays was the divine worship of God, and that was Latria.
Wow.
Let's have Latria, and that was divine worship of God. I don't know why them words stick on my. Well, they do a lot of. These are my scars, but when I left, when I was expelled, I went into a secular school then. I should have gone into care, to be fair. I should have gone into care. I would have been a lot better off. But I still had this abusive life at home. But the first day of my new school, now I have to admit, I knew a few of the guys. They lived in my area. They weren't Catholics like me. But my friends were mainly in Catholic school. Right. Obviously, they became bullies in the end. But
oh, really?
Absolutely, yeah. They were on him, and I'm convinced to this day they were told to bully me by the staff there. I didn't believe that's the way. And what I've seen of the Catholic religion beyond then, I can 100% believe that to be true. Anyway, I went and the first thing we said in assembly on the Monday morning was the Lord's Prayer. I thought, here we go again. Or Our Father. They
I had to do that too in school.
Yeah, and I thought, bollocks, here we go again. I'm right back in there. But it wasn't. That was it. That was it for the week. Then I learned maths, but it was too late. I was fucked up. I was very angry. I became an angry teen. Became quite a violent teen, actually. My uncle, fortunately, he pulled me to one side and said, "You need to channel that, focus it elsewhere." I became a boxer. I was quite good. I fought for Lancashire back in the day. I was a county boxer, and I went semi-professional for one bout. One bout was with a 32-year-old monster of my weight. I was 19 at the time, well, just over 19. He hit me once and got me in a corner, and I thought, yeah, fuck that. Boxing isn't for me. I like my angry years, but channel it into professionalism is not good. Yeah, he hurt me, and I give boxing up straight after that first bout of becoming semi-professional. I'm not a violent man, but it was good at the time. It was good for my teens. I channeled it. I used to stand outside pubs or bars, as you call them over there, and wait for drunks. I was like 14, 15, wait for drunks to come out. Just to fight them, just to cause fights with them and fight them. That's how my anger manifested. And we are talking about I was taught by a sexually deficient institution that none of this is good. We're talking about people who are not even allowed to masturbate. They're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that, and they oppress and suppress themselves sexually. And as we all know, it manifests itself into fucked up people.
The deviant behavior, absolutely.
Exactly.
I don't know why the hell is God concerned what people do with their sex lives, anyways? I never understood.
It's not God; it's these people who
well, I know that, but they're claiming
sexually
that it's
dysfunctional themselves. But no
the whole
pope
thing's
ever
fucking
was.
dysfunctional.
No pope. A lot of popes back in the day were. There was one who was renowned for spreading syphilis around Rome. One of the popes. Another was Alexander VI was the jousting of the jaws, the whores. Benedict the Ninth. Well, anything he did was fucking. He was a poison. He was a murderer. He was a poisoner. He held orgies. I say he was only 12 years old, and he had orgies with animals as well. But we are talking about the Romans. This is before the Vatican was ever became a sovereign state. We're talking about the Romans. They were massive on orgies. But this is what they're all. Most of the popes back then are all charged with the sin of simony, which is. Well, I can say they're all charged. They are all responsible for that now. The sin of simony is, I think you know what that means, Neil, no?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's the selling of spiritual things. Anything that's an idol or a gold, and it is maybe considered holy or spiritual. It is sanctimony and sanctioned to the church, and these popes are selling them off left, right, and centre But bear in mind, the Bigelow report from World War II says, underneath the Vatican is full of African blood diamonds, Nazi gold, even. We know the Pius, the Pope at the time in the World War II, was involved with Hitler because they did the thing about the anti-Semitism back then. Yeah. Well, they've always been 300 years they've been anti-Islamic, anti-Semitist. We know how bad they were, and we know with Mussolini when in Rome. Well, he was the Roman president at the time who invaded Spain during World War II, didn't he? I think it was Spain or it was Spain. He invaded Spain.
He was part
on the advice of the Vatican and Hitler, and they were the link between that. Thank fuck they lost the war. You imagine the world, the Catholics running it. That's not a world I want to live in. I'm sorry, it's not. but say you've got people who learn these things and they end up. And I'm sorry if you're a Catholic and you're listening to me on this channel. I do apologise for my demeanour.
Why? You don't have to apologise.
And I am to the point. And if you're a Catholic and listen to this and you go look at any of what I've set up online or wherever you want to read it in a book and it depresses you, and people have killed themselves when they found out what the Catholic Church have done over the centuries and even what they're doing now, then I apologise.
You don't have to apologise.
I will, but I'm only saying how I've seen it, how I've read about it, how I've researched it, and what I have experienced from the Catholic Church. They are not a good institution. They are not a good people. They are nasty. It's all about money with them. Do you know the Catholic, the Vatican City, as a sovereign state, its own country, as they say?
Yeah.
It's the only country that's in the red. In the green, sorry. What am I saying? In the green. They own
black,
nothing.
you mean?
Billions and billions into the red. Into the green. Why do you go the red?
Black. The expression is black.
Well, black. Or whatever. They own they have no world debt whatsoever.
And they could probably feed every person on the planet like 100 times over with all their wealth. So
Their wealth can solve third world debt.
Oh yeah, easily.
In a heartbeat. And they would still be billions in the black, let's say.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't be able to afford bulletproof cars and golden Mercedes and shit like that. So
yeah, but there's a reason why they need them, Neil.
No, there's not.
The Pope is a horrible.
It's called greed.
I don't want to say the word on your channel. The Pope is a cunt. He's a horrible, horrible cunt who has always been a target for assassination more than any of the worst, more than Donald Trump. Now that's saying something. The popes of the and allegedly, and I'm not going to say this was papers brought out, and now I'm not sure about this. This is something because I do research this stuff.
Okay.
There's stuff in the Vatican vaults. You know, there's a necropolis.
Nobody's going to know that. Nobody's going to know what's down there.
We know there's a necropolis under there because visitors can go and view these tombs of people.
Yes.
Under anyway, the popes, or apparently before they become pope, they have to be involved in a child sacrifice and drink their blood.
Oh, come on,
Neil. If you've ever read what these popes have, what this religion has done in the past involving children, it is perfectly believable that that's what they institute now. Pope Francis was found guilty of this. I told you that he was found in 2014. All the way
for drinking
back,
the blood.
all the way back to when he was an Argentinian priest and bishop. 30,000 children. He was. Pope Francis is responsible for covering up tens of thousands of Catholic debaucheries against children during his tenure as Pope. You know, Pope John Paul took him 300 years to apologize for the killing of Galileo. They imprisoned him and he died in prison. Just for saying, you know, they burned, was it John Wycliffe? I think it was John Wycliffe. They burned him at the stake for saying science is greater than God. They burned him at the stake for that. And they burned many others at the stake for the same reason. They have these convents where they hide these nuns away and they just keep them there. Mm-hmm. Why they keep them there and they don't let them not many of them get involved in the community anymore. They don't, because let's just say it's a shit institution. It's just full of violence and nastiness. And what happened to me throughout my childhood, it scarred me forever. And this is why I still spend a lot of my time just earwigging on the internet what the fucking Catholics up to these days. It's ruined me for life. I can't really. My children are growing up now, so I'm sort of digging back to the Catholics again. Something to do. My wife, she's very supportive. She knows I'm religious injured, and she knows that the Catholics take a lot out of me psychologically. They do. It's hard to. I've had a few drinks tonight, Neil, so I apologize. I'm not coming as I usually am, because for for me to get so deep into my past, I need to have a drink. It brings up too many painful memories. I lost a family. I lost my religion. I believed in all this shit. Years I thought I couldn't be confirmed. I couldn't go to confession. I was denied confession, which is not well. I know it's not requiring a lot of Catholic community, but in my community, in my church, before confirmation, confession was required. I was going to say, well, I ate sweets on the Sabbath or whatever, and as a kid would do stupid things. I was looking forward to it. I had all in my head. I was denied it, and the anguish that just gets in. Unit 666 is right. They're mafia. That's all they are.
By the way, I couldn't find a thing about the popes having to do a child sacrifice. The only thing, and it was repeated, the only thing that I could find was about, I can't remember which pope it was, that stated that child abuse was like human sacrifice. Whoa. Where'd he go? God must have got rid of him. But you know what? Something else I wanted to mention too. Well, he'll come back eventually. The difference between the Catholic Bible and the regular Christian Bible is they have a couple of differences. The Apocrypha in the Catholic Bible and the what do you call it? It's a deuterocanonical books or something like that. Anyway, there. All right.
Hang on. I'm trying to give you a.
Well, doG, you know what? We've gone past the hour.
If you
it's like talking to a brick wall.
if you put in Pope Francis, if you type in Pope Francis child trafficking,
I did.
It will give you his arrest, his charges, and what he was charged.
Yeah,
for.
He was charged for the child trafficking,
and also the killing. There's been plenty of accounts of people that have come from the Vatican who've all died. The eyewitnesses in Canada all died. That Kevin Annick guy, he's had attempts on his life, all sanctioned by the Vatican, of course. Right. Absolutely. Why would you want to have that on your image as God's vicar to Christ? Or, why would, or as Earth's vicar to God? Why would you want that on your resume, that you're a fucking abuser and murderer of children? Of course you will get rid of everyone that wants to be smidging your name, let's say.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I did look it up, and it says that he
2014.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's also when he.
No, but why did you have to look that up? We're talking about the Pope, Neil. Yeah. Why did you have to look that up? Did you know Did you know about this? We're talking about the Pope, one of the most famous men on the planet.
Right.
We're talking about the leader of Catholic. You have to look it up.
Sure.
This is how good they are of brushing shit under the carpet, of making things disappear. They've done it for centuries, and they will remain doing it. And it takes about 300 years. Pope John Paul II, he apologized for so much shit, so much wrongdoing. He apologized for other popes. He apologized for, but it takes about 300 years. That's your time. So you're looking at about 2505, looking at Mother Teresa, the Catholic Church apologizing for Mother Teresa, let's say. That's how long it takes them. They canonized that woman. That bitch has been made a saint. And they made St. Nicholas a saint, a guy from pagan history. They made him a saint for the reason that it's good for indoctrinating children.
Sure.
And that's just simple logic, but people can't see. And they'll go by the fucking morals and ethics. There's no morals in it. The only morals, if you look at your Robert Tiltons, look at your Ken Owens and your Ken Hams, and your fucking all them people are in it for the fucking money. That's all it's about. It's a business, and it's a multi-trillion-dollar business as well.
Yeah,
I must admit, who doesn't want a bit of that action?
I don't want money lying through my teeth. I know that.
To get them through, well, if you were an actor and you pretend to be, and your role was
acting is not
anything,
lying.
You'd be lying, wouldn't you? Because that's not you. You're
acting is acting. It's totally different.
That's all it is. It's acting. It's the same thing. All they're doing is acting. They're playing you get these, these faith healers and these what they call them, speaking in tongues people. It's all
but I think those guys actually believe they're doing that shit. They've convinced themselves.
No, I believe that these people, I think, and I've always thought this, even as a child, I've always thought, religion is a personal thing. God is a personal thing. It's something that you experience personally.
Well, it's the only way you can.
People, these the priests, they'll never tell you about the genocide and the blood and guts of the Old Testament. Even the New Testament, that was just as violent, but it had Jesus to say, "Oh, it's all good" in it. But they'll never read that. They'll just read passages and they'll make these sermons, and that's your Sunday sermon. Oh, everyone feels good. You'll have a little flake of Jesus's skin. The guy must have had serious eczema, as far as I'm concerned, to make that many flakes. You'll have a little sip of Jesus's blood, done. And you'll go on feeling good. And they'll never do all of that. But they will never, ever tell you. And that's why, these people will interpret the Bible, and each sermon is different. They will interpret it. The vicar will interpret it in his own mind, will teach you his interpretation of it. The people who want to make money out of it, and who do make money out of it, they're the fucking manipulators. And that's all they are. They manipulate the Bible. There's interpretation, there's manipulation. Two totally different words, but they mean exactly the same thing. One is greedy, one is honest. You Ken Copeland's, your Robert Tilton's, exactly. Them evangelical televangelist dickheads. They're manipulates. They're manipulates, and they will fuck up people's minds, and they do. But religion fucks up people's mind. They convince people that. I was convinced as a child. You were convinced at a young age.
Not really.
To an extent, you must have questioned it.
I wanted to believe, but I never really did.
That's a question we've all asked. Why we're here? What's it all about? No, I was told.
Yeah, but I didn't need the easy answers.
No, between probably.
I know why I'm here. Multiple stars exploded in order for me to be here.
Now you know that, but between the age of, let's say, 4 and 10, you did
By the age of 10, I knew that.
Was it created? And don't say you didn't, Neil, because I'll call you fucking liar. That's like saying you've never masturbated.
No, I growing up, I wanted to be a believer.
Right?
Well, hang on. I grew up in the Jewish faith, by the way. But I never really fully. I always wanted to believe, but I could never bring myself to actually believe any of that stuff because I'd already learned about stuff like that. Even at the age of 4, I'd already been reading about dinosaurs and stuff like that. So I right away I was like, this can't be right. the religious stuff, I mean. So
I was denied all of that, to be fair.
okay.
I was denied until the age of 10, when the only place I could hide out from the idiots was a library. And I started reading stuff.
Yeah.
And I started reading about life. And unfortunately, I was only 10. So, you know, my knowledge of life was really just beginning. At the end of the day, they still scarred me. But I got my act together in my teens, and I knuckled down in school. I got my A levels, which is the highest you can have here. I went to college. I got a degree. I went to university and got a PhD. And well, it doesn't matter what my PhD is. It's pretty pointless now. Well, it's in advertising psychology. It's in psychology. I'm an advertising psychologist. I'm basically just a marketeer for advertising. Big advertising companies, the big, and we've even done religious contracts, I must admit. We don't do them anymore because you don't see religion advertising on mainstream TV anymore. But they did back in the 80s and 90s when religion was anywhere. But basically, and now I'm just I'm a marketeer now. In the old, when I first started, it was, you know, the psychology was, you know, was how will people think to how they came across colours and words, and we had lawyers there, and we'd all do it all together. Now I just marketeer for a company. I did travel the world for them, and obviously I had a stroke 2019 in America while I was working, which sort of it sort of put that traveling side. I work from home now at the moment, and hats off, I was out for almost 2 years, and they paid me fully, even though I wasn't working. Like, I was put into an induced coma for 3 months last year, last year. The meds, the anti-psychotic, well, the meds they put, I don't call it anti-psychotic, I can't remember, but the meds that it was anticoagulants. There was all sorts in there, but they would make me have these weird fits that was uncontrollable, and I was having these palpitations that would stop my heart and things like that. And the only way they could do it was that was in 2020, and it was 20 last year, yeah. And they put me into this coma. And they got my meds together, so they regulated everything. I even had my injections, my COVID injection, in a coma, so I didn't even have to go through that nonsense. But I came out, and yeah, my meds are being reduced virtually to nothing now. I'm about 96, 97% back to I've been told that is where I will be the rest of my life, but I feel fine. I feel great, and I'm walking about. I'm back at work. The doctor obviously says, you know, don't get stressed out. Every environment you're in is stressful. But I'm loving life now. Obviously, I still do have shit in my life.
Yeah, I think we all do.
But I still have, especially like this. I've had a few beers tonight. I've had a few whiskies, I should say, tonight to face up and do this for you, Neil. And it was a privilege, and I'm hoping the after party is a laugh.
It should be.
It's quite dark. I had a shit childhood, and even through my teens, it was pretty dark. And throughout my life, there's been moments where it's just been pretty crap, just because I had no one. I didn't have that sky god to look up to. It would have been nice. No, I can understand. This is why I can fully understand. I find it utterly ridiculous, but I can understand why people need that a thought in life that, you know, it's got to be more than this sort of thing. It's got me more than what's going on in my life. And that's why, this is why the Catholic Church, they embrace poverty, embrace war. If you ever watch the Pope's Twitter feed, he's always praying where there's conflict going on around the world. He's always praying for the fucking underdog there, because they're watching it. They're just waiting to move in, get their fucking fingers in there, and just get there. We can go. We're talking about, like, from what I was talking about earlier about World War II, the end of World War II to present day. It was only 2018. There was a guy, I'm sure I got his name wrong when I said it earlier, Eduardo Villa. He got away with his part of it, but the Catholic Church has been shown, and it was proven in this court in Belgium, that since World War II, they've been involved in the movement of 300,000 babies. 300,000 babies, and they told the parents they died and they were buried in mass graves. And they told the parents they died, but they've been involved in selling 300,000 babies. And Pope Frank has been told that he was involved in, it's been shown that he was involved in over 30,000 of them since he was a Argentinian bishop in the 70s to now. He is systematic.
Hey, dog. We're going to run late for our after show if we still want to take a break. So maybe let's wrap this one up and then we'll continue over.
Yeah, why not? Show. Yeah. No, well done, Mikey, because when I get on a subject like Catholicism, hatred just comes out of me, and it's not me. It's not me at all.
Couple announcements from Neil, and then we'll wrap this one up, and then we'll get you your new link. Give us one.
Mute me, Neil. Do me a favor.
Well, Doc, thanks for joining and sharing your story today, by the way.
Well, I hope I wasn't. I hope I told my story to people.
Well, you got it in there in bits and pieces.
I've still got the history of popes I can go through of what I've learned. It's obviously all to memory now. But I've got 40 years of learning what the Catholic Church was like, back to the Templars and their involvement in having them killed, and the popes involved in having King Philip of France and King Henry III.
Oh, okay. I actually do know. Okay, I actually do know a little history of the Templars and stuff like that, and they weren't intentionally killed. There's a whole other thing.
What you think?
Not what I think. It's what the scholars tell you. I could recommend some stuff for you, but that'll be later. We're going to get into the after party, so thank you guys out there in the chat for hanging out with us. I appreciate you guys being here and supporting the show. And thanks to my amazing patrons. You guys are really the reason I'm able to keep doing this. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We're going to get into an after party. If you want to join us, you can let myself or Mikey here know, and we'll get you a link and you can jump in with us. And we'll probably be talking more about this stuff in there. It's important stuff to talk about. So we're going to do that. And we're going to take a bit of a break. So we'll get into the after party soon, though. I promise you that. Until then, guys, and like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And thank you, my awesome producer as well. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me, folks.
What's untangled?